As you start working with more complicated projects in After Effects, you're going to find that having multiple compositions can be very helpful. So how do you create additional compositions once you already have one made? Well, it's actually pretty easy to do. First, you can right-click on your project bin and choose New Composition. Or you can go up to Composition, New Composition. In addition to this, you can use the shortcut command Command-N or Control-N if you're on Windows. Now there's also a New Composition button in your project bin, which is right here. So you can click this to also create a new comp. Now you've seen these settings before. We talked about them when we were creating our first composition. One thing I want to point out that I forgot to touch on is that you can create additional presets should you need them. So let's say we come over here and we choose a default preset and we make some modifications, just like this. And for whatever reason, we want to save this preset. Well, we can come up here and click this button. This will allow us to save the preset. All we need to do is name it. So in this case, I'll just name this My Preset. And then click OK. So we now have My Preset. If we come over here again, we can choose the default preset, or we can choose any of the custom presets we have down here. So My Preset, I made another one here when I was doing tests. So there's the TS preset, and so on and so forth. And at any time, if you ever want to delete a preset, simply select the preset and then hit the trash can icon, and then you can choose to delete it, just like that. So once you have a comp set up here, I'll just go ahead and choose these settings, and I'll name this to Awesome Comp. We can click OK, and you can see now we have a composition in the project bin. Now you can open up a composition by simply double-clicking on it. You'll also notice on the bottom we have tabs for our compositions, so we can just jump back and forth between them if we have multiple compositions open. And we can always X out of a composition by simply clicking on that X icon. This will close it off, and you can always reopen it by simply double-clicking. Let's say you're creating a composition and you don't know what the attributes should be. You don't know the resolution, you're not sure on the frame rate, you're not sure what you're going to be bringing in, and you don't want to go through and research it or look it up. Well, what you can do is take a video file that you've imported, or an image if you have it, and you can click and drag down to that composition button. Once you release, it'll create a new composition, as you can see, with the parameters of the footage. So this can be very useful and it can save you a lot of time. So keep that in mind as you start to create new compositions with different types of footage. And one final note, if you ever need to go back into your composition settings, with a composition on screen, you can always go up to Composition and then come down here to Composition Settings, or Command-K or Control-K if you're on Windows. Just like that, and it brings you back into those composition settings so you can change what you need to change, and then you can click OK, and then you are good to go. So that is how you add additional compositions to your project file.